It's Lecture Tuesdays.
Super spicy realities to another episode of Lecture Tuesdays, and we are living the set apart unapologetically.
Living is set apart unapologetically. Living is set apart unapologetically. Living is set apart unapologetically. The mistake of toxicity overload, okay? So cause of the overload, that's 1. Building your expectations. 2. The 3 key values. 3. Exceeding expectations. 4. Into you don't pour all your capacity, vulnerabilities, your God-ordained secrets into another person, expecting them to handle the full weight of all God has given you or instructed you to do. If God has placed them for you to do, if God has placed them with you or for you, there are some issues you do not need to explain. God will reveal it himself true to them. You are a unique vessel. Imagine this, okay? Designed you to be a vessel of gold, and all your experiences, your gifts, your talent prepare you to receive all God has for you. Now imagine you take all of that and place it comfortably, relaxedly in an earthen vessel. The vessel will be crushed. Gold is weightier than wood. No value for its worth. None is less significant. But you get the point. Hence, the reason for boundaries, when you don't need to bear everything the way you think it, the way it comes, the way you assume. Now, an example of this is a Bible verse says, the Lord doesn't do anything without revealing the secrets to his prophets. And so even the prophetic ministry on its own, it's a ministry where if God is not leading you to reveal or expose it, you don't have to. But then there are days when we believe because we are close to people, we should reveal exactly what God has told us to those people. I mean, that's not always the case, because there are reasons why God has placed it with you. It's possible God just wants you to know the secret behind certain things, so you begin to understand some things, and he may not tell it to your spouse or your friend or someone you're in a relationship with or building a healthy relationship with. It can be a friendship, family member, and so begin to understand that there are days when you have to practice not secrecy, basically it's privacy, because it is not supposed to be revealed. And so if God is laying it on your heart to reveal it, sure, you can do that. But if God is not laying it on your heart to reveal it, that's why you have a thought. So, like we said, the way you assume in moments of weaknesses, the way you deliver feedback, the way you receive it, trust God for wisdom. It's applicable to build you before you build unnecessarily high expectations of another person. We said this is the reason you have a walk with God yourself before anyone else. Expecting them to get the full capacity of all God has placed in you will crush them. And before they get crushed, they will give in and bear those things out for the world to see and know and even hear, especially when it doesn't make sense to their natural human comprehension. They could be a believer and not understand certain spiritual things. Even the Bible was talking when Paul was saying that the spiritual things that the natural mind cannot understand it. And so if God has not given them enlightened revelations of what he's telling you, there's a likeness they will not understand it. Trust. Another will not intentionally keep something that is pivotal to your bond away from you. Basically, trust can still come in the way that you're trusting that if it's about different fields or courses of studies, you're trusting they're doing their best in wherever field God has placed them or wherever they're thriving and flourishing in, to make impact with the dominion and authority God has given them. Trust is the fact that if someone keeps something intentionally away from you and they love you, that it may just be for your own good. Trusting that you cannot correct everyone's or be a therapist or teacher to everyone, and trust regardless of counsel you give or receive that someone who needs it will take to it, especially when it's best for them. This is God's time, okay? As everyone's learning procession, especially destiny's trend, is different. Harmony. So find those things, especially when you unavoidably have to live with, for example, roommates or marriage, work with, relate with, from family through to friends, then you can relate with what will help. State your key core values. If someone who you love, you trust, you respect is not willing to accept the beauty of who you are in Christ, then shift, especially your mind, and find relatable topics that won't trigger you out of your healthy boundaries. If rejected or betrayed for stating it, you don't have to force it. Anyone who will come around will, but you trying to enforce understanding will pull down your firm boundaries and jeopardize your sanity and clarity that comes with a peaceful state. So balance. Find balance. What works for me and doesn't work for the other? How can I relate with this mindset? How can I relate with this person without abandoning my key core values? And do it discreetly, basically. Help. It can be God in you, the things you know that God has taught you, or even in others. Find help that will assist you in harmonizing to build healthy expectations, especially after you have been let down for so long. If no one is in your walk with God with you, they cannot see the way you do. You feel or understand all the beautiful things you see. State your all in simple terms. If there's embarrassment and shame for being all God has for you, take a serious step back and love without enforcing compulsorily or needed compulsive by obligatory, or because you have past relations and interactions, lest you begin to see yourself from their perspective. That is shaming all God has already. Some release depth. Some release cannot happen unless there is maturity and understanding, less the weight of the knowledge you know that is very powerful. And not necessarily a secret crushes another, making them cripple, destroying by fast tracking or slowing down another person's walk with God.
Favor that surpasses human understanding. Look at me, I manifest favor that surpasses human understanding. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Oh, look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Oh, favor that surpasses human understanding. Look at me, I manifest favor that surpasses human understanding. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Oh, look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifest. Favor that surpasses human understanding. Look at me, I manifest favor that surpasses human understanding. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Oh, look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto.
Thanks for reading Super Spicy Realities. Be reminded, dear lovely, to stay unique and unapologetically in Jesus' name. Thanks always for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, and for your all of your support, especially your prayers. God bless you always and surprise you and meet your deepest needs and grant your heart desires according to His glorious will and according to His destiny strength. God's blessings always and grant you uncommon favor in this season to pursue whatever He has placed in your hands and to trust Him for growth and for wisdom and expansion. God's blessings always, and that's a wrap, baby.
Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifesto. Look at me, I manifest. Look at me, I manifest.